Afternoon. I trust we're all well. Welcome to our webinar on family law, where we discuss various issues relating to family law, child custody, child maintenance, guardianship, relocation, various consent issues, and so on. And if you have any questions, feel free to pose it on the Advocate Mohammed Abduroaf Facebook page. And we have some icons below this picture. If you want to pose a question, and have it answered by me live at our next webinar, which will be tomorrow, please feel free to go to the link www.ourlawyer.co.za/live. There should be a form, and you complete the form, pose a question, and tomorrow I'll be online. I shall deal with that question as question one in front of you. And if you want to pose a question on Facebook Live, visit www.abduroaf.co.za/live. It will redirect you to the proper Advocate Mohammed Abduroaf Facebook page. You may be watching this video via the Our Lawyer page and so on. I cannot see any questions on those specific platforms. And lastly, if you'd like to call in now while I'm busy chatting to you via Zoom, please visit the link www.ourlawyer.co.za/Zoom. I must get used to all these new links we have. And if you complete the form on that specific link, what will happen is you will be sent to a page where you can click on and your Zoom should open and you can chat to me via Zoom. Okay, this is all quite new. Think about it. If you want to do that, it will be available for the next few webinars where you can interact with me, pose a question. Your video will not appear on the broadcast, only your voice. You can engage with me, ask me questions, I'll ask you questions. We can try to find some solution to whatever problem you have. And of course, the service is available to anyone who would like to have the specific legal questions answered. Nonetheless, let us deal with today's topic, today's issues. We've received quite a few questions on our blog, quite a lot over the last few days, and we tried to answer all those questions. A few questions were emailed to us via these specific icons. The first question deals with the issue of relocation, second one with international relocation, and the third question deals with issue concerning, I cannot see now, but also consent issues. Let us deal with the first question. Question one. The father and I were never married. However, his name is on the child's birth certificate. In 2020, next year, I plan to move to a different province. The father said he would not consent to the change in school, and I must stay in Cape Town. What can I do if he does not consent? He only sees our child every second weekend. Okay, this is a very tricky topic. I can quickly give you the legal answer. The quick legal answer would obviously be go to court. But there are various dynamics and issues at play. The moment the mother relocates, in our scenario, to a different province, automatically the father having contact with a minor child every second weekend will vary. He might see the child once a month, etc. Secondly, the issue concerning the school, very important issue. Schools do not, by default, accept minor children unless both parents consent thereto, especially the child is on the birth certificate. They'll ask, where's the father? Why is he not here? You need to consent with us. And who do we go to if the school fees aren't paid and so on? So there are various issues involved with that is concerned. But nonetheless, schools generally require both parents to consent for a minor child to be enrolled into that specific school. The law obviously expects both parents to be reasonable, to be logical and rational, and also, decide what is best for the child, act in what is in the minor child's best interest. You would not want a situation where the mother relocates to a different province for work purposes, for better life for her and the minor child, and the child is stranded, the child does not have any school to attend. I think that has been selfish by the other parent, forcing the mother to seek legal recourse and so on. And with schools comes other complications. Schools require early application and enrollment. Therefore, you cannot apply to a school in January to be enrolled later in January. You need to do it way in advance. Seats gets filled, and there are certain requirements applicable for the school in order for them to ensure that there's a space available for you and for the minor child. So time is of the essence. In our example, the mother would like to enroll the minor child for 2020. There is a school available, it seems to me, as the mother stipulated in a question. However, the father says he will not consent thereto. Problem. The long and the short of the matter to the specific questioner is if the father cannot come to you and the father cannot come to an agreement regarding various aspects regarding care and contact once you are in the new province, regarding him consenting to the school, etc., then the best advice I have to you is to take this matter to court and let the court come with some type of order, a resolution on the matter, whereby the court can say, okay, father, you do not want to give consent, we think you are being unreasonable, if the court determines that, of course. And under these circumstances, only the mother's consent is required for any educational decisions regarding the minor child. And that's obviously possible. The court would have to look at the matter holistically, but that's a problem the father may have. Should a court make such an order, his engagement or involvement in the child education going forward will never be the same. The mother would basically have unlimited guardianship rights regarding the minor child's education. The court might even go further if the mother can convince the court and stipulate, this father's been difficult. He'll in different provinces. I cannot always call upon him to give consent, for example, an operation, extramural activities, whatever consent issues there may be. And the court might say, whenever the minor child is in this new province and any consent is required, general parental consent, only the mother's consent is required. So therefore, I would advise parents to come to some type of an agreement. And of course, it is also possible that the court might make a decision and say, what, the mother's being unreasonable. She should have discussed this matter better with the father. What she done was, all of a sudden, she decided to go to a different province without considering the father's rights, without considering the impact it might have on the minor child, and of course on the father, and so on. So, but at the end of the day, the court can make a decision. The court can override the father's rights to consent for the enrollment of the minor child to a new school. I hope that answered question 1, and thank you for posing to that. If you are watching this video and you'd like to join via Zoom, you're welcome to make use of that link. I'll just keep an eye on that. Nonetheless, it's a new concept and something which I would like people to make use of, especially for videos or webinars taking place the next day. It's always good to be able to interact with somebody as opposed to setting up a meeting with a lawyer, with an attorney, or an advocate, paying the fees, scheduling it in a week's time, and so on. Here on this videos, we can have face-to-face, not face-to-face necessarily, but one-on-one communication regarding various family law matters and issues. Okay, question 2. Interesting question. I lived with my child overseas for 5 years and came back to South Africa before lockdown in February 2020. I was told I could work again there in 2022. Basically, the employer said, okay, you came back to South Africa, we have a position available for you next year, 2022. The child's passport expired and I do not know where the father is. We were divorced, but he never followed the order after we left home. How do I obtain a passport without the father's consent? So there are certain challenges we have here. Number 1, the father cannot be found. And number 2, of course, we require the father to consent for the minor child's passport. And at the same time, it's not mentioned in the specific question or alluded to, but the father's consent is of course also required for the minor child to leave South Africa again, in terms of the Children's Act, Section 18. Therefore, nonetheless, there are a few issues. Number 1, the passport, the relocation, and secondly, getting the father's consent or finding the father in the first place. And the specific questioner said that the parties are divorced, which is very important to note, Because if the parties are divorced, there would have been a divorce order, a court order, and a court order would generally stipulate that both parents are parental rights, co-holders of parental rights and responsibility of the minor child. So there's a court order in place as well. What would the mother have to do? Okay, first things first, she would have to file an application to court stipulating that only her consent is required for the application for the minor child's passport, number one, and only her consent is required for the relocation back to the country where she wanted to go to in 2022. She needs to file that application, then she has to make an application for substituted service, whereby that specific application should be served on the father either via email, via Facebook, via the newspapers, via the government gazette, whatever way is possible. If she is in communication, if she was in communication with the father via email some time ago, maybe the best thing would be to email the father and find out from the father, where are you? And maybe they can alleviate the issue concerning the application for substituted service and so on. But nonetheless, the documentation would have to be served upon the father. Because he cannot be found, and I will take it from face value that she does not know where the father is, he does not respond to his emails and so on, she would unfortunately have to make that application, asking the court's permission, can she serve this application for sole guardianship rights, for relocation of the minor child, for the passport application on the father via some other means, via email, Facebook, I do not know, whatever would be applicable to the circumstances. The court would obviously decide what is best for the minor child, looking at the facts, and based upon the information before me, I can clearly see there is a strong case for the mother to be able to obtain the sole guardianship rights. That's what I will apply for. I wouldn't ask only for consent for the relocation and for the passport. I would say, henceforth, only the mother's consent is required for any aspect regarding guardianship. The father's consent is not required at all. She would not have any problems overseas. So should the passport again expire in a few years' time, she can go to Home Affairs on her own. Should she like to register the child into a school in the other country, she can do so because she will have an order. So the divorce order will be substituted with this new order. I hope that answers question 2. If I have not, feel free to call in, or yeah, you're welcome to do the same. Just email us again and we will deal with that. Please note with those icons or pictures below my video, you can either use Zoom and call in now if you want to do so, or you can pose a question and I will send you a Zoom link and you can communicate with me tomorrow via Zoom. Alternatively, you can pose a question on Facebook Live as we are chatting now. I hope that sorts that out. And the last question, let us deal with that. Question 3. I am a UK citizen married to a South African citizen. We lived together in London for 3 years and separated recently. The mother wants to visit her family in Cape Town with our child of 2 years old. What can I do if she does not return with the child? Okay, we're dealing here with the potential of the use of the Hague Convention on international child abduction. Okay, I hope I got the name right. It's a long name. Basically, South Africa entered into agreements with various other countries based upon the Hague Convention, basically stipulating that should a child be removed from the jurisdiction of one country and taken to the jurisdiction of another country without the agreement or consent of the parents, then an inquiry should take place in both countries quickly, and then the child should obviously be returned to the country where the child was removed from. So for argument's sake, I'm just using simple terms here. You can Google the Hague Convention. If the agreement in my specific scenario was here that the mother, can take the minor child to South Africa. The child is a resident in the UK, the child lives in the UK, born in the UK, the child is UK. The mother comes to South Africa and she decides, know what, I'm staying in South Africa, I'm not returning this minor child back to the UK. Full stop. There was no agreement that the minor child should remain in South Africa indefinitely. The agreement was that the minor child should be returned to the UK after the visit is done. The father in this scenario, you'll approach the relevant authorities in the UK. They will, via diplomatic channels, send the documentation down to the family advocate's office, let's say in Cape Town. The family advocate will do what they have to do, and the matter will be presented to the judge in the High Court here in Cape Town. And if the judge is convinced that the minor child was remained in South Africa without the consent of the other parent, or the minor child is in South Africa in violation of the agreement that the parties had that the minor child should be returned, then the court will make an order that the minor child should be returned. So that's what the party can obviously make use of. So that will obviously be a, how can I explain to you now, a reactive approach once a problem has arisen. What I would do in your scenario, I would have a written agreement, drafted with an attorney stipulating that the minor child will be returned, will be traveling with the mother from the UK to South Africa, and after a period of 3 weeks, whatever the time period is, 2 months, whatever the case may be, the minor child will be returned back to the UK. It's written, maybe notarized, whatever the case may be. And should there be a dispute afterwards and the Hague Convention does find application, the father can use that document and it would aid him greatly in the return of the minor child. There we have it. That's question 1, 2, and 3. Please take note of those icons below. I'm hoping to have some people wishing to do some one-on-one communications with me on these specific webinars, and hopefully we can learn from that. Have a lovely day, and thank you for watching.